Good afternoon. Welcome to the FTD University webinar titled Selling to Increase Sales and Profits. Today you will explore increasing products and services to meet the desires of your market and strengthen your profits. FTD Education Consultant Jeff Corbin will be leading this informative webinar. Involved in the floral industry for over 30 years, Jeff brings a practical perspective of design and business to his presentations. As an active flower shop owner in Virginia, Jeff understands the current challenges facing the floral industry. Once Jeff is finished with his presentation, we will open the webinar up for questions. If you have a question, simply type it in that question box on the upper right side of your screen. Feel free to submit your questions during the presentation, and we'll hold them until the Q&A portion of the webinar. So without further ado, I would like to turn the call over to Jeff to begin the webinar. Jeff?
Thank you, Janet. Good afternoon, everyone. So glad you could join us. Today, we are going to look at how to increase profits. And I know you get tired of hearing this phrase of selling, increasing profits, this and that. But for so long, or quite often, I should say, we get in a rut of pushing hard to sell, 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 fill, fill, fill. And at the end of the day, you're dragging your hind parts. You've worked everything you could, but there's still no money in the account. So we're going to focus on 5 areas that can maybe help us work smarter and not harder. 3 of them I know you've all heard, but we're going to refresh ourselves on it because I think we take things for granted or things slide and we don't always stay on top of the game. The other 2 ideas I'm kind of excited about because I think that's the newer opportunities that can help us grow for the next 5 to 10 years. First topic, pretty basic, and you'd probably be upset if we didn't talk about it, even though you're going to hate hearing about it. It's refreshing your selling skills. Janet, pop up the survey for a moment, please.
All right, here we come. First poll question, have you watched one of Tim Huckabee's webinars hosted by FTD? Please take a second to select yes or no.
When we look at selling skills.
All right, there we go, Jeff. We've got 52% said yes, 48% said no.
All right, 52%. Congratulations. 48%. We'll show you a link in a second. It's something free. All your investment is in time to learn how to better sell. On our selling skills, how often do we just get on the phone and start talking to that customer and let that customer drag us all around? In reality, we need to be in control as soon as we pick up the phone until the time we thank them for their business and hang up the phone. A sale should average under 3 minutes. And if you haven't, start clocking yourself taking an order just to see how long it is. Some will take 2 minutes, some are going to take 3.5 or 4. But if you're seeing a constant 4, 5, 6, something's wrong. This is also very important during the busy holiday time because you could be answering or assisting other clients on the phone. Clients may not be able to get through because the phone lines are tied up. Also, you may run into impatient customers. When they're seeing you being efficient and quick and prompt, they appreciate your attention to their time as well. When speaking with customers, listen to what they say. Not just the physical words, not just the content, but grasp the big picture of it. Comprehend what they're wanting, i.e., first date, a thank you for dinner last night, funeral flowers for their favorite aunt. In thinking ahead, you know you don't want a balloon for the favorite aunt's funeral. You don't want a sympathy ribbon on thanking them for dinner last night, correct? But as soon as they start dropping these signals, start having in your mind, what recommendations can I make for them? And I say recommendations because we need to be the professional on the phone and not the order taker. We've spent a generation of asking lots of questions. Something I believe in, and I think if you'll watch Tim Huckabee, you'll see, ask fewer questions, give more advice. Why? Because you're the professional and they're calling you for advice and they will be more apt to take it. For example, the favorite aunt who's passed away. Well, did you want to send something like in pink colors or mixed flowers? Did she have something she really liked? Instead, it's, I'm so sorry for your loss. I understand where you're coming from. May I recommend a standing spray, possibly of all pink roses or assorted pink colors and mixed flowers? I'd recommend in the $250 range. What you've done is planted a seed for them. Instead of asking 6 different questions to get to the same point, they're going to respond back to you with, that sounds good. She didn't like pinks. Do you have purples and lavenders? $250 is a little out of my budget. They will give you feedback so you can then represent different ideas. More importantly, during this whole process, don't be afraid of the word no. And that's important in our job all the way around. No is not personal rejection. It's merely a bumper on the ping pong table of on the pinball machine of life. If they say no, it's sending you into another direction to get a yes. And that's kind of a wild analogy, but think about it. And I've said this before, you've gone through a drive-through window and the person asks, would you like fries with that? You say no. But if they're asking that in an 8-hour shift, 12 times an hour, 96 times per day, and they get a 25% rate of success, they have done very well, correct? We need to focus on the success rate, not the times they say no. Now, back to Tim Huckabee. I want to take you to a place 1 second where FTD now has their educational videos. They have moved them to YouTube. So they're much easier to see. You don't need
Jeff, we can't see it.
Okay, then I've cut you off. Application is paused. Let's hit show. Technical difficulties are me. Can you see?
Yep, we're good now.
My apologies, people. There we go. Going to YouTube, and there'll be the address for this later. All of the different training videos and information webinars have been placed on here, and you can go and choose on the right-hand side which ones you want. I'm not going to talk down to you about YouTube. Feel certain everyone knows how to use it. Just take from this, go visit Tim Huckabee's. He's done several webinars for us, and they're all very informative. They will help you increase your average ticket sale. We have to think a little bit out of our traditional mindset, but it's well worth it. Now, let's get back to our PowerPoint here and see how we do here. What we know all the time, add-ons, but again, I've seen this with our own people, especially at holiday times when we're trying to offer chocolates, offer balloons, offer plush animals. The person on the phone, before they hang up, they go, "Do you want chocolates with that?" You hear, "No." "Do you want a balloon with that?" "No." "Do you want a teddy bear with that?" "No." And I'm thinking that customer is probably going, how many times do I have to jump through this? It's like going to one of those websites and you keep getting pop-ups and you keep hitting the X and trying to get that window to close, and another one pops back up with another question and another question. Instead, when you're making the recommendation about your product, include that add-on with it. For example, at Valentine's Day, I'd recommend a dozen of our long stem red roses in the crystal vase with the wildflower accents, and have a balloon of "I love you" attached with it. Then as you're talking and completing that sale, you can make another recommendation, not asking a question of, "Do you think she would enjoy," or better yet, "Don't you think she would enjoy a box of our Godiva chocolates?" You're planting the positive seed, and again, they're either going to say one or two things, yes or no. If they say yes, you've succeeded. If they say no, go on and close the sale. Try not to make more than 2 recommendations of an add-on in any given sale, because then instead of being the professional recommending, you're coming across as a used car salesman, and we don't want that. I would like to think all of us have websites now. Have all people who answer the phone know your website very well. It's your catalog. Even if the person on the phone isn't on the website with them, you use it to choose your favorite arrangements, 3 to 5, so that you can make recommendations. The sunshine bouquet of yellow roses, yellow daisies, and yellow snapdragons. That could be one of your favorite top sellers in the summertime because of all those bright, bold colors. You can either call it by name and sell it to the clientele, or just list it by, sell it to them as a mixed summer arrangement of all yellows. But that helps instill your confidence in the selling process and makes the 3-minute conversation much smoother for you and for your customer. That's all I want to say about refreshing your selling skills now, because otherwise I think we may be beating a dead horse. Please go to YouTube, look at what's being offered for your benefit with the educational series. Next topic is your online presence. As I just mentioned, I hope everyone does have a website. How well is that website doing for you? If you're not seeing sales from it, or you're not getting people calling in saying, "I saw this on the web," I saw this on your website, more specifically, then ponder you may need some assistance. Websites are no longer a necessary evil. They are your new showroom. For many of us, and I include myself in this, the website is more important and gets more daily traffic than our physical showroom. With that being said, you don't want a trashy web showroom with dead plants, cobwebs, burnout light bulbs. You don't want your website to be outdated. You don't want it to be hard to find. You want it to be one of the top places people come to when they come in, when they punch in or do a search for flowers in your community. Because of that, I am an advocate proponent of paid placement ads. Google is by all means your #1 choice. Bing is your next choice. Bing is Microsoft's search engine. It can be a do-it-yourself venture, or you can work with your friends from FTD and they will do a monthly campaign for you based upon a budget you'd like to spend. It's like a $25 maintenance fee, but they will get your name out there in the various search engines and other yellow page ads online, things of that nature. It is necessary. Now you're saying, well, what is paid placement, or what is all of these flower shops I see listed? Understand, when you do a Google or a Bing search, the ads, the paid ads, are usually the top 2 or top 3 that appear on that findings. The organic, natural, unpaid listings are what follow under that. Those are also very good to be highly ranked in. To do that, you need a little more attention, a little more fine tuning in your website, and take control of it yourself. But you want to look at the content of your website, have good descriptions, have relevant descriptions. In some of your funeral pages, list your area funeral homes. In your Get Well maternity pages, list some of the local hospitals. List businesses around. That makes your website relevant to your community and helps it rank higher in the natural search engine results. Another thing that helps strengthen your online presence is your links. And what is a link? A link is either inbound or outbound. It's where you are connecting the website, or another website is connected back to yours. Great for funeral homes, great for restaurants, and great for other types of businesses that we'll talk about in a minute. But the more inbound links, i.e. outside businesses that you can have put your link to your website on their pages, helps raise the rankings of your website.
Are we ready for that next poll, Jeff?
Another item that will help strengthen your online presence is social media. And at this point, Janet, would you give us another survey?
All right, we'll roll out the next poll. What types of social media do you use for your business? Please select all that apply. We've got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. So please take a minute to give us your feedback. All right. And we're at 74% voted right now, Jeff.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Facebook is definitely the winner. 94% are using Facebook. All right. And we'll give it 5 seconds more if anybody else wants to answer, and we'll close that poll. All right. And we've got 94% for Facebook. Next is 52% Instagram. We've got 33% on Pinterest, 21% on Twitter, and only 15% on YouTube, Jeff.
Only 15% on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay. Now the first 4 are listed in the order that gets the most monthly visits. Pinterest is actually the 8th most used social media, but since it's all visual with those pictures, it's a natural for us, so we should be using it. We spend a lot of time on social media, but are we being productive in what we do? That's the big question. Going on Facebook and checking out friends and checking out what's happening today and who's doing this is not benefiting your business. and not that I'm judging because we all do this, when you're on there for your store, dedicate quality time to it and be focused in the approach that you want. Figure out how often do you want to post? Do you want to post once a day, once every other day, 17 times a day? Probably not. And of what things do you want to post? I see some shops that will post a lot of items for sale. I prefer not to do that too often because I think people will start tuning you out. I like it for it to be an informational site using good pictures of color and colors of vibrant flowers. I like piquing their interest to get them into the store. Color schemes do well, or you can post a picture of a dozen roses of all multicolors and then throw out the question, what's your favorite color rose? That gets them feedback on there, gets them interacting with your site. It keeps your business in their mind. And that's where Instagram and Twitter come into play too, because they're all highly visual. YouTube, I can see why it's probably not used much, but it's going to become, or it is becoming, a very valuable resource, and it's something I'd like to see you get more familiar with. It's a good way of drawing a lot of new interest to your business. Social media is probably going to become more important than your traditional forms of media. A good survey question would have been, how many of you advertise in Yellow Pages anymore? How many of you advertise in your local newspapers? We see that dropping more and more more time is being invested into social media. I know I've heard people say, well, my granddaughter, my grandchild is really good on the phone and that computer stuff. I let them take care of our social media. Be careful of that, or give guidance to that. While they may be good at maneuvering through and getting onto the different websites and different social sites, are they giving you the image or presenting the image to your customer base that you're wanting? Please have input with them on that. And don't be intimidated by it. It's a computer program. You're not going to get hurt. Just get on there and start working through it. Good social media campaign, probably 2.5 hours a week is more than adequate. You can really set it up to hour and a half. And you just set yourself up a calendar that you're going to be posting to which social media on which day, and just follow it on through. It's just as important now to integrate those into your advertising as you did holiday campaigns with the newspapers. The more active we are on social media, the more we're going to start seeing reviews of our business. Now, ultimately, we'd love to see all 5 stars. In reality, that's not going to happen. There will be negative reviews. Again, don't take it personally. Don't get nasty. It is what it is, and we're not going to please every client we assist. Use that as an opportunity to learn and to correct the situation. You may do something for customer A that they give you 5 stars. Customer B will give you 3 stars, and customer C will give you 1 star. Now, do you have 2 quack jobs? That we don't know, but more than likely, take it as a learning experience of how could I make better selections for them, better recommendations for them? What questions could I ask to get better information so I can be more full service to everyone? Do not fight fire with fire on your reviews. Apologize, ask them to contact you so that their resolution can be made privately. Don't be throwing things out in the public arena. It will come back to haunt you in the long run. On a side note, there will be a webinar in December that does nothing but focus on reviews and how to address them and how to maintain the positive outlook. Keep your emails open for that. Janet will be sending out information. Now, what I told you earlier that we'll be focusing a little more on YouTube, it is your channel of education. It's videos. It can be humorous, it can be serious, it can be a little bit of anything. Learn to use your camera to take short videos. Go look at other florists. Look up bow making, bouquet making, flower care handling, all of these sorts of things to see what other stores are doing and get ideas. You can practice, you can play, you can perfect what you start doing and put out, begin with 1-2 minute videos, work up to 5 and 10. Don't be boring them to death. Be very informative and plan what information you're going to get. Hopefully someone in your store could learn some editing techniques to cut out any bleepers, short, dull spots, that sort of thing. But you create a YouTube account and start adding all of these clips to it, all of these videos. It also helps raise your website in search engine results. So that is an added benefit. So don't discourage that just because it takes a little more time to learn it. It's well worth what you're going to get out of it. Our third topic of partnering with other businesses. We all do it, and I know we've got our favorites of the obvious people, your funeral homes, your hotels, restaurants, bridal shops, those that give us direct business. But there's a couple of other classifications we need to be paying attention to. Realize our best advertising is still word of mouth. A friend's referral will more than likely get you a wedding from a specific person more so than them seeing your ad in printed media. 10 positive reviews of how you did on someone's wedding is more likely to get you a wedding versus a printed ad. So partnering with businesses is a way of making contact with live people who can give you wonderful lip service, so to speak, to potential clients. But as listed here, your obvious partners, your funeral homes, etc. Your potential partners are your jewelry stores, barbershop salons, car dealerships, realtors, veterinary clinics. And then a third group I call the occasional partners. And they're like accountants and the tax offices, your theaters, business grand openings, chamber socials. And this is where they come into play. The obvious partners tend to have relationships that give us full benefit of payment, i.e. a funeral home is recommending a family or sending a casket cover to us, we're getting the full amount on. Whereas the potential partners, say for example, a car dealership, you could be offering them discounted arrangements every time maybe they sell, and maybe not even discounted, but this is just an opportunity to get your foot in the door with them. Every time they sell a Cadillac, or every time they sell a luxury car, or any car, just find out what kind it is, because that's going to tell you what client you could be, what potential client you could be giving flowers to or sending flowers to. But for example, let's say you've got a dealership that sells Cadillacs. Every time they sell one, they call and give you the name and address, and you deliver a dozen roses. They can pay your full price for roses, or you may say, we'll give it to you at 25% off or 50% off. You do whatever it takes to get your foot in the door. And you're saying, but why is this important? Twofold. A client with money, i.e. they bought a Cadillac, so they're not slouch, is getting your product in their hands. Secondly, you are capturing their address that you could do direct mail to later. It's a two-pronged approach of how you could possibly picking up a new customer. And the reason I said earlier, find out what kind of vehicle they got. We all want to go for those clients that have that disposable income that can purchase flowers, purchase our gift lines. They're the ones we want to market to and win over. Whereas somebody that's buying the used vehicle, probably not going to have the most disposable income to work with us. Realtors are another one. And I don't know if y'all remember the welcome wagon person. That was the organization, whereas when somebody new moved to town, you could pay to put in a bud vase in their basket, and they would bring that in, and they were new to town, so they'd get to visit your flower shop, and you gave them a few stems of flowers to put in there, that sort of thing. But every month you also got that list of addresses of all the new people to whom you could market. This is a different approach. Welcome wagon no longer exists in our areas, and actually I don't think it exists at all. But this is the way you're creating your own new potential customer list. The occasional partners are seasonal type businesses. For example, I mentioned tax offices. Look at sending a free arrangement out to them April 1st through the 5th. Why? That's when they're in their busy season. That's when they're going to have a high walk-in of traffic who will see your flowers. We used to send them to beauty parlors on Thursdays because back 25 years ago or 20 years ago, ladies were getting their weekly sets. They would get them on Thursday and Friday so that they looked all pretty and dolled up for the weekend. So fresh flowers were sitting there, and then part of what they would talk about is, oh, where did they come from? Oh, that nice person sent them to us, this and that. Hardware stores used to be a place on Saturdays. The men could come in and see the flowers there and think, oh, I've got an anniversary this week. Where did they come from? I need to go order flowers. You want to select high traffic areas for this type partner. You probably have your own ideas or own businesses in town that are specific to you. The chamber socials, throw an arrangement out there on the table. Put a large card on it. When I say a large card, create your own card for this. Don't go with one of our standard enclosure cards. Why? Because it's a sealed envelope usually. The manager of the event, or the person in charge of the event, or the manager of the business will get the card, open it up and go, oh, that's nice, and more than likely throw it on their desk or stick it in their pocket. Then nothing but a set of flowers is there for everybody to see, and no one really knows where it came from. By doing a large card, and when I say a large, look at doing like 4 to a page, so it comes out to like 4.5 by 5.5 size. Put your name in large print on the bottom, and you can handwrite a simple message on there. That way, there's no reason that anyone take that card off. Everyone can see your nice greeting to that business or event, and your name is clearly displayed on the bottom. People don't realize this, but when you send that little private card in that envelope, it is taken off about 85% of the time. Doing it this way, it remains on the flowers far more often, so you have better exposure and visibility for your well-doings. Next item, reviewing our product lines. If we talk to most people, I would say we are at the point now we think we have too many items. And I don't know if we do or don't, but very logically, we could sit down with pen and paper or using our sales history and our point of sale systems, look at what we have. First thing, literally walk through your showroom. what is worn? And I don't mean slightly. It either is or isn't. If that little brown bear sitting there arrived white, you know it has been there too long. Get rid of it. If you carry silver giftware in your store and it's now tarnished, get rid of it. If you have to move the cobwebs over a corner to pull out a silk arrangement, get rid of it. Are you seeing a pattern here? But more importantly, how you get rid of it is up to you. Donate it, dispose of it, have a clearance table, get a quarter versus $300, do something, but move that product out. But then look at things too. If you're starting to see a recurrent theme of giftware, giftware, giftware is sitting here, it's not turning, maybe it's time you not stock giftware in your showroom or specific types of giftware. Balloons. Was that style cute in 1983 when it came out? Now, I'm not going to step on anybody's toes, but if in your balloon folders you have balloons that are not self-sealing, that you have to use the curling iron to seal them or the heat sealer to seal them, get rid of them. I'm not sure how many balloons you may offer in your store, maybe 20, maybe 120. Change up varieties. We get in the habit of ordering the same baby girl, baby boy, same get well. You know what? It looks dated. Bring on the modern look. Plants, yes, peace lilies are wonderful, but peace lilies have been going strong for 25 years. Don't be afraid to bring in other complementing styles as well. Remember what? There's China dolls, there's Dieffenbachias, there's ficus. So many other varieties we can still have. Dish gardens are still a #1 seller, but maybe offer them up in ceramic and not just that plastic clay beater. Revive what you're offering. Put these new offerings on your website so your website products and website offerings don't look stale. If you have food products, literally make sure the expiration dates are valid. But more importantly, use your point of sale or use your logic. Are the items selling? Are they selling in the time frame in which I want them? Or would something else in the showroom sell better? There may even be items that would sell better at a lower margin, but turn over quicker, which would still help your bottom line. Another item I would love to have taken a survey poll on: how many of us are still stocking permanent flowers in our showrooms? I was at a meeting this weekend and did some talking. Found out of the 6 stores we were talking to, 3 stocked sympathy silks. The other 3 didn't even stock those, but none were stocking the centerpieces, the pre-made centerpieces that we used to sell so frequently. We stopped about 15 years ago. We just weren't getting a return on it. They were getting worn, and we finally decided to deplete the inventory. But now, talking to others, we found out interior design shops are going gangbusters with the permanent arrangements now. So it's like that product has moved from our hands to someone else's. Enough of that one. Let's talk about what we can do adding and deleting inventory. We talked about identifying your most profitable and your least profitable and making changes there. Something we need to offer to our customers who walk in, customers who call in, and on our websites, offer gift cards. Gift cards capture their money, and it goes to someone who can come in and redeem it. But you've got money in hand, and at this point, you don't have any inventory outlay. Pre-sale floral packages. Flower of the month is a wonderful item, or flowers quarterly, flowers annually, whatever, but pre-sell packages that could be, instead of somebody buying a $50 arrangement, they see here, oh, for $200, I can buy a spring, summer, fall, and winter arrangement at one time. That takes a lot of thought off of me, and you've got the $200 in your hand right now to utilize. The bottom one that I really like is to use other people's inventory. It's where you only buy it when you need it. The first thing that comes to mind, food trays, birthday cakes. And if you've heard me talk about this before. But if we can sell 150 birthday cakes a year, I am happy to do so. If we can sell 3 food trays a week, I'm happy to do so. Are we getting rich on it? No, but we're offering items and have no inventory stocked on them. And people say, but what are you charging? I make no secret of it. These are trays, and these pictures are from Kroger's, and we use their pictures because we're using their product. But a tray generally costs somewhere, say $24.95. We're doubling the money on it. And you're thinking, but I can't get that. They can just run right over to Kroger's and get it. Realize the purchaser of this item is usually out of town, so you are providing a service for them. It's not a question of money, it's a question of availability. A friend has passed on. They want to send something to the family, non-floral, but they can come to you and get food. Food is a comfort. Everybody likes that during the time of funeral. If they're 4 states away, they don't care about the money. They're not going to compare the prices. They just want it done. Another great idea that's been around for years, and so many of us are not paying attention to it, are the web gifts. Janet, can you put up the poll for that, please?
Sure.
Thank
Everybody
you.
just take a second. Are you currently incorporating FTD web gifts on your website? Yes or no? Yeah, so far the answer's coming in. It's overwhelmingly no.
People, no! But do not fret, then you're going to get an education today.
All right, we will close the poll right now. So 88% no, only 13% yes.
All righty, what is a web gift? Got a few slides here. Look at the visuals. This is what a web gift is. Or they are, however you want to look at it, they are items or the inventory that you can offer to your client, put them on your website, and they can be sold. When they sell, you get your 20.
Hey, Jeff, we're having some problems, it sounds like, with your internet connection.
Is people. Looking at the comic here, we only have a small piece of the pie, but we own the whipped cream. You kind of laugh at it. Well, there's a lot of good common sense there. We are losing a lot of business because brides are doing it themselves. Brides are going online to purchase flowers. They're going elsewhere to purchase flowers, and we're not getting it. We own the whipped cream, people. We can start capturing this business back. And while it's not the full markups up to which we're used to, it's better than nothing. And because there's so much more of it, we can actually be making great money with less labor.
Hey, Jeff, Can you
Yes,
run back to the web gift section because your internet cut out and we did not hear any of that?
I'm a loser. What part did you not hear, Janet?
Pretty much as soon as you went from the beginning, what is web gifts? And then we didn't hear any of it.
Thank you. And again, I apologize. Web gifts, what are they? They are the opportunity by partnering with FTD to have items on your website and you offer them. There is no inventory to you. There is no cost to you. When you sell one of these items, you send the order on out, you get 20% of the retail price. You get billed by FTD. It's shipped out. You don't touch the product. It's a win-win situation. If you don't sell anything, you don't owe anything. When you sell something, you're making money on it. You pay the difference, and everybody's a happy camper. They have fresh flowers, they have gifts, they have plants, they have great items that they offer during the holidays too. How was that, Janet?
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm sorry for that cutout. Next area, did you hear me well on the do-it-yourself events?
Yes.
Okay. What do we have to offer the do-it-yourselfers? We've got, of course, flowers. We've got containers, accessories, tools, a workroom. We've got cooler space. And more importantly, we have knowledge that can help them. Back in the 70s, we didn't sell a lot of loose stems. We allowed the mass markets to take it and run with it, and we kicked ourselves in the pants. Back in the 80s, Miss Martha Stewart came along and we made fun of her for 10 or 15 years. And guess what? We could kick herself in the pants because she put flowers back on the table. This time, we've got a large percentage of people doing things themselves. Let's not turn up our nose at them. Let's be a part of their process. Flowers, yes, we can offer flowers. And you're thinking, but no, they won't pay my prices. They can go to Costco. They can do this. They can do that. Look at these 3 websites. Those are where they can buy flowers easily, or they can easily be selected and shipped right to them. Yes, prices are less than what we're used to. However, for example, on 50 flowers, and I'm going to try to go to this website without cutting you off again. Did you see this?
No.
That's good.
Yep.
There we go. 50 flowers. Look at this one. Look at Global Rose and look at Blooms by the Box. Take them as your competition, but take them as your learning curve. And they can be a very good mentor to you. Look at how things are set up. And I'm not saying set your website up for this. You don't have to. But when somebody comes in and wants to buy roses, and we're quoting, well, okay, you want 100 roses? Well, that's still $4 a stem. No, we're wrong there. We are chasing them to these sites. Why can't we see what they want and talk to them in terms of what 50 flowers does? You want roses? We can get you roses. They come in bunches of 25, and you can buy 1 bunch, or you can buy 4 bunches, or you can buy 8 bunches. What would you like? Well, we offer them 2 ways. We get them, you can get them wholesale, where the thorns and the foliage are still on them, and that's a better price point, or we can have them cleaned and conditioned and ready to go. That's another price point. But we've got to talk in the language of, if they're buying in volume, we're going to have to drop our prices if we're wanting this slice of the pie. But again, these three websites, and I don't want to keep jumping around for fear of losing you again, but those are the ones you want to go to. Pricing, as I said, is by the bunch. Less than the bunch, of course, they're going to be paying more. Processed versus unprocessed. Educate them on care and handling. Educate them on shrinkage. What is shrinkage? Well, it's understanding that if they're buying a bunch of 25, they should expect to lose 2 to 3 stems due to something being broken, something being damaged, that sort of thing. But a broken rose, guess what? Then they have rose petals to drop on the table. Look at these websites, learn how they have marketed the problems that we're presenting on ourselves. We keep thinking of problems and therefore we won't touch it. These sites have turned them into opportunities and have become very successful. There's no reason we can't do the same thing. In addition to flowers, what else do we have? We have containers. We can sell them containers. We can rent them containers. It's up to you. Depends too on the price point. If they're $2 containers, you may not want to rent them. It may cost you more in labor of trying to clean them, prep them, send them back. Some of the beautiful FTD containers, some of the marketplace closeouts, rent those. You can recover your cost on the first rental. Second rental is profit. Third rental is profit. You're getting the idea. The accessories, this is your money maker. Ribbons, bows, where we've done a little labor for them. I'm not going to read down the list, but you can see what all they are. Those you're making your double markup, if not more on, because once they've come to you and you've captured them, you've won them over with the fresh flowers, they're really not going to be traipsing up and down the streets trying to figure out who's got the best price on a roll of ribbon or who's got the corsage form. That's where you're making your good margin of money. Tools. You can sell them tools, or if they're working on premises, rent them tools. And when you're saying, okay, if they're working on premises, what's that? Drops down to the other area. We have design areas, or if you have a large showroom and you're not stocking a lot of products anymore, turn that into a design studio. Allow them to rent space, or if they're buying a certain amount of flowers, they can just use the space. Same with your cooler space. Now, what you need to do is figure out what is the price on it or what are your terms on it. You need to organize time slots of, all right, you're doing your wedding, you get 3 hours and we have space for 4 people. Set up rules, communicate with them. Keep the doors open so you don't give them, keep the doors of communication open, let me rephrase that, so you don't hit walls or you don't get flustered and you don't fluster them. If you go into this and allow people to work in your store, please have a professional waiver of liability drawn up and have them sign it. It is a knife, it's scissors, it's shears, but those items can cut and take off fingers, and you know it's going to be our fault if something happens. So you just put that out there to begin with and cover yourself on that. On the field of knowledge, most everything they want to know is already on the web. Most everything you want to know is already on the web. Go out there, and if you set up a YouTube page, you can borrow other people's videos and give them credit, so you become a resource for them. But while you can, continue to build your own personal homemade videos. That adds credibility to you as a wedding source, as a wedding authority, as their place for do-it-yourselfers. YouTube has said it's a wonderful venue for you. On your website, list your policies, list your procedures, list pricing if feasible, and I do think we can put some prices to talking to your wholesaler, and this is where you want a good business relationship with them, that you're going to have some year-round pricing, and so you can put ballparks there. Or if you don't want pricing, then don't. Don't play that game of scared that your competition, your local florist around you are going to start copying your prices. Who cares? If they do, good service will make you the winner. Care and handling is very important. Let the bride know, or let the event person, it's not always a bride, know what to expect on a flower. And these websites have done this very well, and you can almost take their wording and turn it into your own. But to understand, a flower may look wilted when it's pulled out of the package, but a fresh end is cut, leaves are stripped down. In 6 to 12 hours, that flower will hydrate and look beautiful. In 2 to 3 days, it will open up and give you a beautiful showing for your event. Is that making sense? Again, avoiding the disappointment. And then something I want to jump to is the Excel calculator, and that is on your downloads over here. And you can have that to help you do your own pricing. I'm going to click again and hopefully not cut anybody off. And show my screen again. There we go. Everyone there now, Janet?
Yep.
Thank you. Here's an Excel that you can have. Stay in the yellow areas. Everything else has been locked that you cannot change it. But for example, what markup do you want on your product? And we set up a couple of areas at the top. Your cost is your cost from your wholesaler. I've listed public, meaning is the consumer. Unconditioned product or conditioned product. Here, for the sake of demonstration, I've put unconditioned product at a 65% markup and a conditioned product at 100%. You can list whatever you want. Let's not split hairs over those numbers. But for example, if a rose, the Eskimo rose, is costing you $1 a stem, you can sell it at the bunch at $1.65 or at a conditioned price of $2. This is just a tool to help you. Yes, we have stems listed here on hydrangeas or individual stems. Just work with it. You can work through this. You'll have my email that if you've got questions on this, or you can pick up the phone and call the store. But this is a tool that could help you so that you could sit here and play with your different percentages, different markups. If you want a 200% markup here, if you want a 500 here, you can have it, and it will change your prices. I strongly do not recommend going that high. I think you're going to defeat the purpose of the do-it-yourselfers. Do-it-yourselfers approach is smaller amounts per item, but they will tend to buy more in the long run. Think of it as making a visit to the dollar store. Every item's only $1, but you walk out of there spending $25. So you're making a few pennies on all of these items, but they're coming to you for so much, you will end up doing more $500, $600, $700 ticket sales that we otherwise would have lost. And I see how our time is running. And at this point, Janet, I think we're probably good just to open up for questions.
Yes, just want to thank you, Jeff, for sharing. That was a lot of great information. And as Jeff said, we're open for questions. We are almost out of time, so we do have time for just a couple of questions. As I had said before, remember, just type that question in the question box on the upper right side of your screen. We do have a question from Stuart. How do you start a YouTube account?
Stuart, it's easy. Go to YouTube, and they will walk you right through it. More importantly, look for a YouTube of how to start an account. There's that much information on there.
All right. Mark said if he only has time for one social media account, which one would you recommend he chooses?
Good question. If we go back to that slide and look, Facebook is the #1 used social media. I would put my bang on that one.
All right. And Eileen was just wondering, we were just talking about the do-it-yourself. Is it worth getting into the do-it-yourself stuff, or is that just a fad, do you think?
I don't think it's a fad. Well, put it this way. No, I don't think it's a fad. I think it's going to become a way of life for a lot of people. The more high-tech we become, the more hands-on we're going to become to help compensate. Some people are doing do-it-yourself to save money. Others are doing it out of enjoyment. We look at those that are trying to save money and frown on them. Instead, we can be marketing to those who do enjoyment, who will lay out more money because of the pleasure they get.
All right. We've got another question. What can we do with false or bad reviews on Facebook?
Respond to them of, we are sorry, we didn't meet your expectations. Please call us to see how we can make this right. I mean, I just opened the door for them to reach out. Be humble, apologize. I'm sorry we didn't meet your expectations. Please let us know how we can make it better for you. I think that's all we can do.
Yep. All right, it looks like we're out of questions now. We want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar. If you missed a portion of this webinar or you would like to view it again, a replay will be available on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel later this week. And the webinar materials that Jeff mentioned are always available at ftdi.com. As always, we will be sending you a very brief survey to gather your feedback on today's webinar. We ask you to please just take a minute to complete the survey and help us improve future webinars and other education programs for you. The next FTD webinar is scheduled for Tuesday, September 19th. FTD Education Consultant Randy Wooten, AIFD, will be sharing marketing and branding ideas that have proven successful for his business. The registration is already available at ftdi.com, so please be sure to register as soon as possible and reserve your spot. Again, Jeff, we just want to thank you for sharing a lot of great information on selling and increasing our products and services to strengthen our product assortment and our profits.
Janet, you're welcome.
This concludes FTD's webinar, Selling to Increase Sales and Profits. Thank you, everyone.